her, let's hear from the lady herself. Please welcome Grace Graham.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much, Baz. It's such a pleasure to be speaking to you all today. My name's Grace Graham, and I'm the founder of a wellbeing company. So today I'm here to talk to you about my life, all the obstacles that I had to overcome to become a successful entrepreneur. But before we get started, what have I told you that you could become anything? But more importantly, what have you told yourself that and believed it? I'm here to talk to you about the critical elements of success, happiness, and overcoming obstacles, resilience, built through some of our most painful moments. But before we get started, I would just like to say sorry. I'm sorry if you felt anxious and alone during this time. I'm sorry that you've had to deal with so much uncertainty, and I'm sorry if you lost a loved one. I had to find the room to say sorry to myself when I was going through difficult times. You see, we have a tendency to be quite judgmental when what we need to do is acknowledge that we've been affected. When we acknowledge that we've been affected, this makes room for us to be kinder to ourselves. So I hope that I can give you some inspiration about my journey and how I had to face many different elements of fear. And boy, did I have to change. But if I didn't make these changes, I would not be speaking to you all today. So, have you ever had an experience which changed your life and things were never the same? I've had several. My father passed away from cancer when I was 15. My boyfriend passed away when I was 19, and my mother died from cancer just only a year ago. You must be thinking, boy, this woman has had a lot of trauma, but haven't we all? Big or small, we have all experienced something in our lives that has really affected us. So where did my story start? I grew up in quite a rough area, Hackney, but I was really fortunate to be raised by a strong single mother, Jane, who taught me the value and importance of education. My father had Parkinson's disease, and when I would visit him, I would massage his hands to help reduce the tension from the medication, unaware at this young age that massage and healing would later become my destiny. But at times, if I'm honest, I was afraid to see my father, witnessing a sick man in a chair. But I realized that I had to face my fear, as I did not have much time left with this man who I so dearly loved. Sadly, my father passed away when I was 15. This left me very vulnerable and very broken. A few years later, I got into the wrong crowd and had to leave home for my safety. However, my mother was determined that I would not be defined by my difficult circumstances, and she wanted me to get to university. So I travelled down to sixth form while I was in hiding in the hope to get a place at Bristol University. And that I did. I got a place at Bristol University where I studied sociology and social policy. The summer before I went to university, I met this wonderful young man who became my boyfriend, and we spent the whole summer together. Sadly, he passed away just before I went back to university. My world was broken and I really wanted to give up, but I heard the voice of my mother saying that you must achieve despite your experiences. You must be more than your experiences. And so that I did, and I graduated with a bachelor's in science at Bristol University. I came home from university, and if I'm honest, I was still sad, I was feeling anxious, and how much I missed my father and my boyfriend was really, really affecting me. I realized it was time that I needed to start talking. You see, I had a tendency of not saying anything to anybody, and it just made me sick and tired. So I came back and I realized it was time for me to talk. So I found a counsellor and started to express my feelings, which made me feel so much more empowered and so much more, I had more compassion for myself. So I joined lots of different jobs and I was still really, really unhappy. And then I really realized that my passion for massage and healing others was something that I really wanted to pursue. So I did a diploma in massage and I got a massage diploma, which I was really, really excited about. Then I worked many different jobs and I was still really unhappy, and I realized that I wanted to set up my own business. So I got help from the incredible Prince's Trust. So the Prince's Trust, I went on the Enterprise Programme, an amazing programme which teaches young people how to become successful entrepreneurs. I learned the many different skills needed, from how to make a sale, how to become more confident, and learning about my competitors and tax and all these fun things. So it was really, really incredible experience. And I felt really empowered for the first time. I felt like anything was possible. The Prince's Trust then asked me to become an ambassador to speak at different events to help raise money for the charity. I was blown away. I remember when I did my interview and I told my life story, it was the first time that I felt, wow, I've been through all of these experiences, but I'm more than these experiences and I can achieve so much more. So my first talk was at Buckingham Palace. Then I went to New York and I spoke for the British Consulate Residency in New York. It was an incredible trip. Over the time as an ambassador, I met so many incredible CEOs of large corporations, and I had to step outside of my comfort zone, and I would approach them and tell them about my business. So why did I set up my business? A lot of them wanted to know. And my desire came from a place of when going through difficult times in my life, I didn't always get the support in university or at work. So I wanted to help companies create infrastructures for their organizations where they can hold their employees when they're going through challenging times. So I spoke about all of this at my talks, and I was then awarded Ambassador of the Year awarded by His Royal Highness Prince Charles, because I raised a lot of money for the charity. So it was wonderful that I could give back to a charity that had given me so much. So now I was on my journey to building my business. And as I said to you before, my desire came from a place of really wanting to help people that were going through difficult times. So I had to find a team of professionals. So I found an incredible team of psychologists and coaches. And we now support, over the last 5 years, we've supported over 80 corporations across the UK and some really large brands like HSBC, Dr. Martens and L'Oreal. So we go into organizations and deliver courses on mental health awareness so that we can support organizations and employees in knowing how to spot the signs if they're struggling or feel anxious, and how leaders and management can really support their employees and point them in the right direction when they're struggling at work. So for me, it's been such an amazing journey, and I feel so privileged that I'm able, through all of the difficulties I've had in my life, I'm now able to give back to other people and to make other people feel safe when they're going through challenging times. So as you can see, I've had to go through quite a lot of things in my life, but what are some of the things that I've learned along the way that have helped me? Talking has been key. Talking, when we talk, it enables us to find the right support. So, if you're struggling at the moment, you find somebody within your family. And if that's not something that you're able to do, there are so many wonderful organizations that can support you, like Mind and Calm. There's some incredible charities out there that can support you if you're struggling. Also, I used to think that when I spoke about my emotions, that it meant that I was weak. And actually, I've come to realize that our vulnerability is our superpower. Talking about our emotions empowers us and enables us to feel and understand that we are not alone. I can imagine so many of you have felt so alone during this time. So it's really important to practice that skill of talking and reaching out. Embracing change, and boy, did I have to embrace a lot of change, which felt so uncomfortable. And have we all had to not go through so much change recently since the pandemic? But what I've come to realize is change gives us the opportunity to grow. And knowing and choosing the right change is also key to making our lives that little bit easier. Another one, facing our fears, stepping outside of our comfort zones. It can feel so much easier to stay in our bubbles, but it's really important that if we are given opportunities, that we say yes, and that we try our best to step outside of our comfort zones. So, for example, with me, I've been doing lots of talks, across the UK about my life story. And then I got approached by many different organizations to talk to young people or to talk about women's rights. And if I'm honest, I was quite scared. I was so used to reading the same script, and I'd memorized my life story, of course. But I realized that, in order for me to get more opportunities, I had to step out of my comfort zone. And so I practiced new talks and I developed, new speeches, and then much more opportunities came. So it's really, really important that we really be brave. And I can imagine for a lot of you, there's probably been so many fears around not taking your GCSEs or going back to school. And all of these are really, really valid fears. So as much as I'm saying step out of your comfort zone, it's also really important to say it's okay to be afraid. You know, we're human beings and we're all going to be afraid at some point in our lives. A really, really important one for me was learning to be kinder to myself. And a great way that you could all start is by being kind to your parents, because I can imagine you've all been at home working from home, and it's a lot for our parents and for us all to juggle. So if we can be kinder to ourselves, that can really help the process. And think about that voice in your head. You know, I used to be quite horrible to myself, if I'm honest, and beat myself up when I was going through difficult times. If I made a mistake, I'd say, "Oh, you're so silly, Grace." But now instead, I say to myself, "You've had a really long day. You're just tired." So is your voice in your head your friend or is it your enemy? So really think about how you talk to yourself, because kindness starts from within. So what are some of the things that we can do now, and what are some of the things that you can put in action now? Setting goals is so key. The easiest way to make a goal achievable is to define it clearly and make it easy to understand. So for example, one of my goals is, you know, I know that we've spoken to so many clients across the UK, and we know that they're really struggling in how they can support their employees in returning to work, because so many people are feeling quite anxious since the pandemic. So my goal is to create a course that really supports employees in, moving through their anxiety and helping them to kind of deal with change. So that's my goal. And then am I going to accomplish that goal? So I need to talk to my psychologists and schedule meetings to talk about what that course might look like. I might do surveys with my clients to find out really the specifics of what they need. And then when do I want to achieve that goal? So it's really important that we set a deadline so that we can make sure that we reach that goal. And for you, it might be something like starting a new university. And if that's what you want to achieve, have you spoken to your careers advisor? And when do you want to achieve that goal? So you might set yourself a deadline that you're going to apply to a certain amount of universities, and you're going to speak to your careers advisor by a certain time. So setting goals is really, really important, because it really, really helps us to get tasks done and achieve things in a much easier way. Self-care is really important to me. And, you know, when we're stressed or we might feel anxious, we can tend to not be, very caring or loving to ourselves. So it's really important with, my self-care routine. I have to make sure that first thing in the morning, I don't look at my phone. I give myself a moment to breathe and really center myself before I start my working day, especially if I know I've got a busy work week or a busy day with lots of meetings with clients. I'm going to make sure I have a really wonderful breakfast in the morning that will really sustain me. And thinking about some self-care rituals that you can put in place that might make you happy. So for me, after a long week, I might say, "Oh, I've got this really new face mask that I'm going to put on that's going to make me feel really wonderful." Or I might put some lovely oils in my bath. Or for you, it might be calling one of your friends or watching a movie with your mum and dad or with your friends over Skype. So, think about some rituals that will help you, especially if you've been doing lots of studying, help you cut off, and so that you can unwind and really, really think about how you're going to care for yourself, especially during this time. Another one for me is affirmations. And affirmations are a way for us to be kinder to ourselves. So having kinder thoughts. So what I would do when I was going through difficult times is create a list of sentences that I would say to myself to help me feel less anxious or stressed. So for example, if there was lots going on I felt really overwhelmed, I would just say to myself, "I am brave and I will get through this time." So it's just kind of retraining our brains. Even if it feels like everything's all over the place, we have to be the people that can reassure ourselves. And, maybe if you feel that you're not getting the things that you feel that you deserve, you might want to say to yourself, "I deserve good things in life." So even if things again feel all over the place, we remind ourselves that we do deserve good, whatever is happening in our lives, and good will come. Write it down is a key one for me. A great way to get out of that head, because we can have lots of thoughts going on in our heads, and it's really important that we take time to get out of our heads. So write it down. If you've got a diary or a journal, try and write your feelings and emotions down. Particularly for me, I found it very hard to talk to people about my emotions when I was younger. So I would write my feelings down through poetry or just, what I felt, how my day had gone that week or that day. So, try and write your feelings down. It's a great way to put things into perspective. And it also helps us with our behavior, because sometimes if we're feeling a certain emotion, we can act very impulsively. But if we write it down, we can get a better perspective before we act in that emotion. So I'd like us all to take a moment to breathe. Why is breathing so important? It gives us time to be in the moment, especially when we have so much going on in our lives and the world outside seems upside down. So breathing centers us, and it also helps to increase oxygen to our brain, which helps to calm our bodies. So I'd like you to place your hands on your lap, close your eyes, and if this feels uncomfortable, then just have a slight gaze looking forward. I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose and a nice long breath out through the mouth, releasing any tension or anxiety. And again, another deep breath in through the nose and release out through the mouth. Again, thinking as though you're reducing any tension or worry that you've got in your mind or in your body. And again, one more time, a nice deep breath in. And as you breathe in, feel your stomach expand. Hold that breath. And a nice big exhale, removing all of that worry. And with your eyes closed, I would just like to read you a poem from my favourite author, Maya Angelou, who really helped me get through some difficult times in my life. You will face many defeats in life, but never let yourself be defeated. It is perhaps necessary to encounter such defeats to work out who you truly are. So what does that mean? We're all going to go through challenging times in life, unfortunately. That is life. But if you cannot allow these challenging times to completely bring you down, and it's okay, we all will fall at times. And it's not about how many times we fall, but it's about how we get back up. And I've really understood and learned that actually it's the challenging times that have made me resilient and have made me grow. So when we're going through difficult times, maybe have that in mind, that this difficult time is going to help me to grow and become the greatest version of myself. It has been so wonderful speaking to you all today, and I hope you got something from my talk. It's been an absolute pleasure. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was absolutely incredible. Your journey, what you have been through, and what you have achieved. I think we all feel so proud of you. Really.
Oh, thank you.
Look, I've got some really comments for you, which I would like to share with you.
Oh,
So there's someone who has said, such an inspiring story, Grace. You have an incredible amount of strength. Thank you for sharing.
thank you.
Then we have got another lovely feedback for you. Grace, it is amazing to hear your story. You are such an inspiration. And then there's a question for you as well, Grace, there. You have achieved so much. What has been your proudest moment?
I think my proudest moment was when I stood on stage at the London Palladium and was awarded by His Royal Highness Prince Charles with my award for winning the regional and the national awards. It was incredible, and it was the first time I ever walked on a red catwalk, so I was really excited. And my mother was there, so that was wonderful to support.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. And how was the party, by the way?
Oh, it was amazing. There were so many, people that have experienced and achieved incredible things. And it's inspiring. Yeah. It's inspiring when you're on your own journey of achieving and you see people that have really achieved, so it gives you hope that you can also become just like them as well. So yeah, it was great.
Absolutely. We have got another question here. How do we apply to join a Princess Trust Enterprise program?
So I believe if you just go on their website, then you can apply there. It's really, really simple. So you can just go on the Princess Trust website and get in contact with them there. And there'll be lots of people to call you. Or there's a phone line, so you can call them up. And there's always somebody to speak to over the phone.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Grace. You talk about so much and, lots of things that has helped you throughout your journey, to achieve all that amazing stuff. But who is your inspiration? I mean, for us, you are an inspiration, Grace.
Oh, thank you.
Especially, I think all the young, ladies and, children watching you right now, you are an inspiration for all of them.
Oh, that's very kind.
And who is this? Who is that person that gives you that strength to keep you going?
Oh, well, there's so many women. It's really hard. So many women. I have to say my mother is one of them, because she was the pinnacle of teaching me how to use my voice, how to reach out in times of need. And she was, a really incredible woman. And then I really love Oprah Winfrey. So I used to watch her when I was younger. I mean, she's achieved so much. And, I'm really inspired by women that have gone through really difficult times and they rise above their challenges. And then another person is Louise Hay. And I know these people are probably not that topical for you younger people, but Louise Hay taught me about how to learning about affirmations that I was telling you about before. So learning how to be kinder to myself. So they're my inspiration. There's so many, but yeah, there's some of them.
I'm sure about it. And tell me more. Like we have spoken about, your work life, all your career journey, all the challenges. But how is Grace? What does she like? What you like to eat? What's your favorite holiday? Come on, tell us this. I'm sure people would be interested in finding out. You are a star.
Oh, thank you. What I love traveling. So before this, actually, I was really lucky. I recently just got back from Tanzania in Africa, and we went on safari. So I love adventures. I really love to travel the world, and my mum used to take us away a lot when we were young. I also love to horse ride. So I've been riding since I was quite young. So I love horses. Food, I love like curries. It's my favorite dishes,
Me
and
too.
oh, and I'm quite healthy at home, so I make a lot of everything from scratch, really, like chickpea curries, lovely salads, and pumpkin soup. So yeah, I try and be as healthy as I can, especially when I've got, a lot to focus on. It's really important that you keep the mind and the body healthy. And I always start my day with doing at least 15 minutes meditation or grounding so that I can center myself before all of the traffic starts to come in from the emails and everything.
Absolutely. This is kind of my routine as well. It has to start from some sort of meditation because it just calms you down. I think, to be grateful for all the bounties that, God has given us. So
Exactly.
nice to start with a little bit of gratitude.
Oh, 100%. So
Lovely.
important.
Like, Grace, it was absolutely wonderful to have you. Thank you so much. And I just want this to our audience and the people watching us right now that what a humble person she is. I
Thank
never
you.
knew Grace. The first time I messaged her on LinkedIn, I said, look, this is the event, we are working on. Would you like to be part of this, And I wasn't expecting, I'm being honest here, Grace. I wasn't expecting because I thought, she's a busy lady. Oh, I'm not sure. Within 10 minutes, I received a reply and she said, yes, send me through some information and I would love to, have a look. And then since then, she has been so supportive, always available to talk about, the details of the event. Grace, can we do this? Can we do that? Could you please create the teaser? And she has been absolutely wonderful to work with and to have with us today. So
My pleasure. It's so wonderful to be able to give back. If when we learn, it's really important that we teach and give back to others. So thank you, Baz, for finding me. It's been a pleasure, and good luck, everybody, with your futures.
thank you, Grace. You have a lovely day, and I wish you all the best. Keep
Thank
it
you.
magic, and just continue, getting so successful. And I'm sure you're gonna go so far. So
Thank you so much,
take
Baz.
care, Grace.
All the
Bye.
best.